morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, June 30th. Record highs this morning after record highs on Friday as trade talks continue to develop. Today's action follows a green session to end last week. The S&P 500 eked out a record high close, adding 32 points, or just more than 0.5% to end at 6,173 points. The Dow gained 432 points, or 1%. The Nasdaq advanced 105 points, or 0.5%. Bill, let's get into Monday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps, and we're showing high. We're trading higher. We're up 0.42%. That's 0.4% in the green, and that's good to see. And there's a lot of positive developments this morning in the trade talks, and there's developments on that budget reconciliation bill. I mean, Canada has officially dropped its digital service tax, that DST proposal. And that happened just hours before the first payment was due. That's a shot in the arm. That's positive. Then the Senate is moving forward with a vote on that reconciliation bill, the big, one big beautiful bill act. And there could be a vote as early as today, and then it gets sent back to the House for them to negotiate and vote on. But the latest draft of that bill that was published on Friday, it deals a real significant setback to the renewable energy industry by sharply reducing or eliminating some key tax credits. So, those sectors are trading a little lower this morning. And the economic calendar, hey, it's all about employment data this week. That's going to be the key one. I mean, that non-farms payroll report, that's due this week. That normally comes out on Friday, but because Friday is a holiday, it's going to come out on Thursday. So, Thursday you get the weekly jobless claims and the non-farms payroll report being released. Talk about the major banks. Major banks all passed that stress test on Friday. I mean, granted, the bar was a little lower, but they all passed that. So that's what we need to see. And after the bell today, you got earnings from the insurance company Progressive PRGS. That's one of the key ones to keep an eye on today. And then we're taking a look at overseas action to see what's happening in Germany and France and England. And for the most part, that they are trading weaker. I mean, the DAX inflation unexpectedly fell to 2% in June, hitting the ECB target. I mean, the DAX is down 28 points or 0.12%. You're seeing a little weakness in some of the autos and banks. The FTSE's down 12 points or 0.14%. I will say that the UK's GDP growth was confirmed at 0.7%. For Q1. In France, France actually turned positive. It was lower, but it is now positive. It's up 0.06%. So, it is green. They got that manufacturing PMIs due out tomorrow in France. Then we're turning our attention over to Asia last night. And Asia was ticking higher, because the Nikkei jumped 0.84%. Shanghai jumped 0.59%. Hong Kong was down 0.87%. If you look at it, tech stocks, were positive in Japan. They still got those unresolved trade tensions going on, and there is a tariff situation that you're going to worry about with Japanese equities. Hong Kong, come on, it's fell for its third consecutive session, and financial stocks, tech stocks did move lower. But with China, they market was up, but that weak manufacturing data is now creating expectations of additional stimulus, and they got that Politburo meeting that starts later next month. So that's something to keep an eye on. Then we're turning our attention over to oil, and oil is moving lower. It's flat to lower. It's not crazy lower, but the manufacturing data out of China, that's not good for the market. But especially when you walking into a situation where all eyes are on OPEC, because there's an upcoming OPEC meeting, and they're about to announce. It's expected that they're going to announce an additional production hike for August. And weak manufacturing data out of China. The only way around that is is for the Chinese government to come up with a stimulus program, which could happen. And, that's what's keeping oil afloat. But oil is trading flat to lower. WTI is at $65.35 and Brent is at $67.74 this morning, Emily.
And Bill, as we start a new week on this Monday, which is the last day of June and the start of a holiday shortened trading week, there's plenty of information to be watching as we get ready for the trading day and week ahead. As you gave us a preview of a number of economic events, including that non-farm payrolls that will be released early. But before we get to the economic events of the day, let's start with earnings action. Bill, what is going on there?
Yeah, it's pretty light for the earnings this week. Nothing came out this morning. After the bell today, you get Progressive Software, that's ticker PRGS, Paul, Richard, Grace, Sam. EPS is 50 cents. Expected move is 11.76%. Put volume scares me here, and I'm not loving it. But that's all I really have on the earnings front today, Emily.
And earnings will continue to pick up as we move through next month, as we move through July. So we'll be sure to keep track of all of that earnings action as it does speed up, even though it's slow right now. But in terms of economic events, a number of things to be watching today and really throughout the week. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of economic events?
9:45 a.m. you get the Chicago PMI. At 10:30 a.m. you get the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Survey. Also at 10 a.m. we're going to hear from Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic, and then at 1 p.m. this afternoon, Austin Goolsbee of the Chicago Fed will be giving a speech. But so it's kind of quiet this morning. Employment data really is in focus. I mean, tomorrow you have the JOLTS report. Wednesday you have the ADP private payrolls report. Thursday, you have the weekly jobless claims and the non-farms payroll report. So, these are some of the reports that the markets will be paying attention to. But also tomorrow, you get the ISM reports coming out for manufacturing and services PMI. That's going to be a key one. But that's what I have for you in terms of an economic update this morning, Emily.
Those are key indicators, Bill, and important to be watching and gathering that data, which you will be doing using your NewsWare, keeping track of all of that information. You'll be seeing it as it's released, and you also see other types of news, data, and information as it hits the tape. Every morning, you are looking at your NewsWare. You've broken it down into alerts, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're also looking at your stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks this morning. I got 22 higher, 7 lower, 1 unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. Everything's positive, with the exception of Tesla. Tesla is down 0.75% this morning. You're looking at some of the news behind the tape this morning. We're talking about, Canada's rescinding the Digital Service Act after, President Trump drops the trade talks with Canada. Hey, that's positive for Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta. It's all good news for those guys. Speaking of Meta platforms, OpenAI is recalibrating its employee compensation after Meta's successful poaching of a number of its employees. I mean, that really took OpenAI. It was a shockwave. Tesla, you look at Tesla; it is trading lower. They're expected to unveil their Q2 deliveries this week, so they can tout up the robo-taxi as much as they want. But the robo-taxi is not like it's bringing in any revenue. You do like a handful of widely publicized, very easy trips. That's not huge, but the second quarter delivery numbers are going to be are likely to be pour cold water over the stock when they are announced. So we're a little nervous on Tesla's Q2 delivery data. In terms of Dow Jones 30, we're talking Boeing. First off, Boeing's trading higher. It's up by about 0.2%, but Boeing's a $4.7 billion deal to take over Spirit Aerosystems. It does face UK antitrust proposals, but remember, Boeing used to own these guys. They spun them off. So it's unlikely that it's not going to pass the regulation, the regulator. It's unlikely that the regulators have too much to say about it. So I expect everybody to greenlight this deal. JP Morgan, all 22 large banks passed the Fed stress test on Friday. That's positive news. Granted, the bar was set a little lower, but a pass is a pass. Talking merger news, Hewlett Packard Enterprises, that's ticker HPE, and Juniper Networks shares are rising in the pre-market due to the DOJ settlement. In terms of shareholders meetings, MongoDB, that's ticker MDB, Michael David Boyd, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 10 a.m. UBS launches buyback of up to $2 billion. Ticker UBS, Uncle Boy Sam. In terms of catalyst calls, ST Microelectronics, that's ticker STM, Sam, Tom, Michael, they're placed on JP Morgan's catalyst watch list. COGT, Charlie, Oscar, Grace, Tom. Citibank opened up a 30-day upside catalyst watch on Cogent. Moderna, mRNA, Michael, Richard, Nancy, Apple. Moderna sees positive phase 3 data on their seasonal flu vaccine. That's good to see. That's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, this will be the last one for June, and hate to jinx it, but we're pretty strong month with the pick of the day. So what do you have for us today?
I gotta go with Citigroup, Citibank, ticker C is in Charlie. I mean, there's positive momentum from the stress test, potential pickup in M&A activity, a lower regulatory environment, from that court ruling on Friday. This is all positive for the banks. And, I could see, the banks moving. But, you look at JP Morgan, it's already up big. You look at Goldman Sachs, it's already up big. Bank of America, I don't love, but Citibank, there's a lot of things to like about Citibank. Now, first off, let's look at Friday's call volume. 153,000 calls traded to 64,000 puts. That's positive. Open interest, 929,000 versus 863,000 on the put side. And let's face it, the major brokers are raising price targets on Citigroup. So, you got to like that. In terms of an entry price, listen, I want to get in 84.75 really, so anywhere between 84.70 and 84 80 is kind of like my sweet spot, somewhere around there. But that's my pick of the day. C is in Charlie for Citibank, Emily.
We will follow that one along with you, trading the news cycle on that one. And coming up, we will do a recap on Friday's pick of the day. So stick with us through that. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
TRUG, True Gulf, announces portable launch monitor. SPWR, SunPower, joins Russell 3000. Microcap indices. Oh, Stanley Black & Decker names Nelson to succeed Allen as CEO, SWK. See, Palantir's jumping strong in the pre-market. PDD, Paul David, this is Term and Sheen. Their growth is really reversed here in the U.S. as that tax loophole has been closed. So they don't have that $8 entry fee, anymore. That $800 entry fee for, big, large packages going into the U.S. anymore. So, that increased tariff rate is really kind of hurting their growth. Oh, Target. We got to talk about Target for a second. TGT, Tom Grace Tom. They got that sales event known as Circle Week, and it runs from July 6th to July 12th. So that's upcoming. It's something to keep an eye on. Pfizer, ticker PFE, expands its collaboration with another drug firm to advance AI-driven drug discovery. AVDL, Apple, Victor, David, Larry. There's a fund, ASL Strategic Value Fund. They're planning on calling for the removal of the entire board. Wow. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading on this Monday, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was OKLO. Now, you made this pick following that possible executive order to power AI growth. You were hoping for a specific entry point on this one to get a gain on Friday. How did your call work out?
Listen, I made money on the trade. You look at the stock, it opened up at 59.55 and ran to 62.10. Right there's your 1%. But I missed it. And next thing you know, the stock fell down to 57.25, which was followed by a rally of 59.50, and that was positive. Now I got on at 157.38 and I closed out at 162.35. So, it was a nice one. I mean, the fact is the fact of the matter is OKLO did, have a nice day on Friday. So, it was a win for me. So, I'll take it and call it a win, Emily.
A win there on Friday, and it's still moving higher this morning, so a little bit room for a gain there as well. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Citigroup pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.